Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman Cinema Sit Down. I'm not going to waste much time because you can already see it behind me where I am. I just got out of the theater. I just became a believer. Jim Cameron got me with this one. What am I talking about? You can see it. Why don't you pull up a chair? Take a seat. I'm getting ready to dive in, spoiler-free, but fresh out the theater after seeing Avatar: The Way of Water. My straw keeps floating up, but I mean, this movie got me from jump, man. Like, it got me at the like at the cup. This cup is freaking dope, man. It's got some of the sea creatures and some of the Navi on there, but then it's got like this like water level, and then you got your drink in there as well. There's one who's like, that looks really awesome, I want that, thinking it was like a two-tone drink. It's just the water in the cup, but the cup's freaking awesome. But as I said, Jim Cameron, he got me a little bit on this one. As you all know, I'm not the biggest. Up the left. I got the left arm on, and that one gets shaky. You guys know I'm not the biggest Avatar fan. I saw it on my TV the first time on HBO. I saw the re-release in September. Visually blew me away. I understood things more. But my biggest problem with the first one was a lot of the human elements and just wanting to spend more time with the Navi. And that's one of the things, I really want my drink. That's one of the things that this movie, I think Jim Cameron gets a lot better this time. I do think that Way of Water has some inherent problems for me and some rehashing, so to speak, that all kind of stem from the human elements of the story. However, I felt like in this one, the human elements take a little bit more of a backseat, and when you're really plugged into like the third act and the finale, all of the story building that you're doing around the Sully family and just family in general, as well as with the water, and just the way that we connect with water. A lot of the stuff in the third act just hit harder, even though there's a lot of similarities. So that being said, I really was able to connect more, and I got what I wanted more out of the first one, which was more time with the Navi and this world. And I'd say there's the second hour of the movie is like sheer perfection for me in the world of Avatar. I mean, we are just underwater. We're learning about the water Navi's like world and the different creatures and things, and it's just absolutely wonderful. I mean, you get lost down there, and I was sitting third row, so the visuals, man, it's funny, the first hour I didn't really feel the impact of the visuals the way I had in the first Avatar. And then you get to the water, and then I was like, oh, there it is. Jim was just making us wait. And then you get in there, and it's like visually unbelievable. You know that. And from a technology standpoint, I mean, you can really see the upgrades. One of the things that both John Landau and Jim Cameron have talked about in the past between Avatar and Alita Battle Angel was the development in their tech that was getting these 3D CGI characters to really blend into the real world better with Alita Battle Angel that you didn't really have as much with the Navi because everything's CGI. And you know, you're in a world where there's not as much it's very similar to the first one, but the blending and the realisticness feels different, man. And you just sit there and go, how do you do all this? I mean, they're doing mocap underwater for this movie. Like, I can't wait for the behind the scenes that will come out after this movie, like hits, you know, VOD and DVD, because that's the stuff I'm dying to see, man. Like, the things that they do from an innovation standpoint are unbelievable. But like I said, the story on this one, I think you connect with a little bit more. I cried like 2, maybe 3 times, specifically in the third act. I mean, the way that Cameron and the other writers that are with him on this one really get you to connect to the characters and to the world. It's more intense for me than the first one was, and the performances are just wonderful. Sam Worthington, I'm not the biggest like fan. He's fine. Anytime he's in things, I'm just like, yeah, he's fine. He doesn't capture me the way someone like Zoe Saldana does. But Jake Sully is super, super important in this story, and the Sully family is a family that obviously we spend a lot of time with and is really where a lot of your heartstrings and connections are formed. And, you know, Worthington carries that. But just time and time again, I find that everybody else around him really pops more. And with this one, specifically with all the familial elements, Zoe Saldana's Neytiri, obviously, she was my favorite thing from the first Avatar. She pops. But also Kate Winslet. She plays the mother of the water Na'vi, main family that we know. And a lot of the emotional drive in this movie comes from those two women and from the mother, figures of their families. And those two performances are just fantastic. Winslet's obviously not as big as Saldana, but they both convey very, very strong maternal, emotional feelings that really hit in the movie. And then Zoe Saldana, I mean, give me her doing action as Neytiri all day, every day. The action of this movie is pretty solid when it does kick in. The combination of water stuff and then your normal human guns and explosions and things, but then Neytiri gets down at one point in this movie, and I just sat there. I was like, yes, give me this, and Zoe Saldana just crushes that stuff. And when you're talking about the emotional stuff, I mean, she hits the hardest. And everything that she conveys, she's always the most impressive to me in these scenarios where you're digitally replacing her, and it's just unbelievable how she's able to convey the emotions that she's able to convey through a CGI character. And again, how they capture that stuff is just unbelievable. When you're talking about the Sully family, I'm so bad with all of their names, but Kiri, Took are the two girls of the family. Kiri's got some really cool shit, man, especially in that second hour. Some of the visual stuff really ties to her unbelievable ways. Took, she's this little girl, and she's got this giant heart, man, and just the performance is one that you care about that kid so much. And then this is where I'm gonna forget the names, but the two older sons, the oldest and then the second oldest, their relationship, it's so spot on for brothers, having a younger brother, and the family in general really hits a lot. But where they go and those characters, where they get taken, I really enjoy the performances, specifically from the second oldest son. So the one, not the oldest, the one after that. He has, I think, the biggest connections to the water Na'vi people, and story-wise, the biggest beats coming out of the Sully family. I think he does a really good job carrying the movie for good chunks, specifically when it comes to the water creatures. Watching how these forest Na'vi interact in the water, and specifically with some of the creatures, the ones that they ride. There's also the whale type creatures, the Tanuk or Tanakh. So all these names are jumbled in my head, man, because the one thing that I will always say about Jim Cameron, whether I think the story hits or everything hits, that dude produces cinema, and my mind is still kind of piecing everything together. But what you get from the Na'vi, from the water creatures and the world is just wonderful. There's a human. We've seen the human kid in there, Spider. Interesting storyline. Things I bump up against, and some rehashing stuff that kind of pops up throughout the course of the movie, kind of sits there around his character, but he's fine. I think he does a good job. And then when you look at the big bad, once again, is Stephen Lang, and my first question was how's Stephen Lang back? The movie's going to answer that for you right away. And while a lot of my issues stem from the human involvement in these movies, you can never knock Stephen Lang. He's such a good villain, and it was nice to have him back. Him versus Jake Sully, versus Neytiri, because Neytiri hates him, and obviously finished him off in the first one. He really plays that stuff well, and again, as someone who conveys a lot of that emotion through that CGI really well. The score here is excellent. It really drives when you get into like I said, some of the when you're really going into the different Na'vi things in the movie. That's when the score for me it kind of gets a little tribal to it. The water Na'vi definitely have some like Samoan type vibes. You'll see some stuff where you'll be like, yeah, I've seen The Rock do stuff like that. He would have fit actually as one of those. But the characters that you get there are just excellent. And for the most part, like I said, I think there's some rehashing, and there's some things that are kind of a little generic and okay, par for the course, I think, at this point for Avatar movies, and everything else that Jim Cameron gives us, from, you know, the way water interacts with the world and us and the people of Pandora. This one just hit a lot more. So let's get Seaman's up. Like I said, the visual effects on this are unbelievable. I mean, my brain is broken. I don't understand how all of, like, 90% of what you're looking at on screen a lot of times is all digital. It's not there. I don't understand it. How John Landau and Jim Cameron come up and continue to push the boundaries when it comes to tech in movies. It's unbelievable. Jim Cameron is a master of cinema. It's what he creates. This movie is cinema. This needs to be experienced on a big screen. My only thing is, I've seen it nominated for Best Picture at the Golden Globes. I can't remember. It's just one of those, like, when like, I look at, like, Avengers Endgame. I'm gonna try to be fair here, right? Like, I don't understand why this movie would get looked at as a Best Picture and not a comic book movie. I feel like it does a lot of the same things, and there's a lot of CGI. Yes, there's a real good familial story in this one, a much stronger story than the first one. But, like, I look at Wakanda Forever. I mean, that does some amazing storytelling as well, right? So, like, it's one of these, I don't know what it is with the world and comic books, but when it comes to the gold stuff, if you can acknowledge blue cats, I think you can acknowledge superheroes. There's space for both. And I don't know if I would nominate this for Best Picture, but, I mean, it's worth talking about because, like I said, visually, it's unbelievable. It's a really strong family presence, and you have, I mean, one phenomenal performance, as always, from Zoe Saldana, and a lot of really strong performances in and around what's going on here. And I was just captivated with this world and immersed in the 3D. Like, everything just pops. It works better than the first one for me. Still a little long. I feel like there's one line, Took has a line late in the movie where she's kind of like, I can't believe, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of with you, kid. And I think you could have gotten this under 3 hours, but it doesn't drag at all at any point. So I'm going 4 out of 5 Seamaniacs. Like I said, I think this one hits better than the first one for me. I really enjoyed living in the water Navi world, and I'm here to come back for a third one. I don't know if this will do the box office of the first one. The post-pandemic box office has been weird. But I think people who love Avatar are going to love The Way of Water. People who are not big fans of Avatar, I think James Cameron's going to win you over a little bit with this one. But I don't know if it'll drive you to the theater multiple times. I definitely need to go see this in 4DX because I'm here for that type of stuff. And there's one sequence that involves some water creatures that was just stellar. So I'm gonna shut up because I've been talking long enough. I want to know what you guys are thinking. How big of an Avatar fan are you? Have you seen The Way of Water already? When are you going to see it if you haven't? What are you excited about? What worked and didn't work inside the movie if you have seen it? And yeah, put all that down below in the comment section. I look forward to talking to you guys about this one. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with C-Man anytime we're talking movies, TV, trailer, reactions, you want to be here for any other coverage, I guess maybe we'll get into spoilers. I don't know. I haven't been big on spoilers, but you know, you want to be here for just anything. You want to show a little love, support. Help me get to 3,000 by the end of the year, man. We're getting close. And you can do that by joining C-Maniac Nation, simply by jumping over there, hitting that subscribe button, hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the C-Mans, Cinema Sit Down. I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off.
Oh, you guys are still here. You snuck up on me. You must be looking for more of this guy. Well, I got 2 video options for you, man. Right up here and right over here. And if you want all those C-Man goodies, well, hey, come join the squad right on over there, and I'll catch you on the next one.